less than. Okay, now we're
I think we're all
online.
set.
So we're using up some precious seconds of our 8 hour time limit.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
have Rose and Susan and Richard here, and Sam is monitoring this possibly in the background. We do have sort of okay. Let me see. I got to move my Slack over. You, me, at R. Ilson. What does up mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means.
So Sam is texting in. Okay, you can do that while I talk. And our big issue, and I don't know who else is using the auto graders, definitely like on a time sensitive basis, but they went down last Wednesday night, just as one of my sort of assignments that I have due about every 2 weeks was about to be due. The students were freaking out. For me, I went into class and I told them this has been one of the better semesters that I've had because
Hmm.
this is the first time the auto graders have gone
Yeah,
down. And
yeah,
it was for this particular stuff, it's not hard for me to postpone the deadlines. There were other because I don't have a strong dependencies. Um, but I wasn't expecting. Usually, when things go down, they come back, and there seems to be a. That's why I was interested in hearing a little bit from Sam. There seems to be somewhat of a sort of a lackadaisical response from edX. We said that they're down, and they said, and like 24 hours later is like, can you clarify?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like, yeah,
exactly.
down, they're not working. It's like, oh, okay.
Wow.
I mean, I think we were pretty clear on what was going on,
It's
and it was
known as stalling for time,
yeah, yeah.
or I don't want to work on the weekend, so I'll just you know send
Well,
out
this was Thursday. The
Zoom
problem
messages.
is it is by not making any progress, and it went on through the weekend, which I was surprised.
Yeah, I was too.
Okay, so where are you in any of this, Rose or Susan? Are you is this a big problem for you, or
It's
is it
not
just
for
me?
me. I'm not doing any more of the homework because we're
Okay,
working on a project, and
okay,
so I only have 2 more weeks left in the semester, and I'm not going to be using it anymore. So for me, it's
okay. And what about you, Rose?
Well, I still have some of the last assignments that need to be graded, uh, unless I just decide to do it all myself. It's not a big deal, but of course, it does mean that I can't sort of uh, tie up loose ends. All right, I have several more weeks left to the semester, and I told students at the beginning that there were certain homeworks at the end that we might deem optional, depending on how the semester goes and how complicated the projects are and that sort of thing. And so I've come to the conclusion that if this kind of thing is going on, I'm just going to say we're going to focus on the project for the rest of the semester. We do have we still have to have the Oracle of Bacon corrected also. So, I mean, I have one that's got to be graded, and then I have one that's sort of half graded, depending on when the students turned it in. You saying? So some of them turned it in early, and theirs got graded, and then some of them turned it in later, and I'm waiting to see what the autograder does. So
Okay,
it's a matter for me more of tying up loose ends and making sure it gets done before the end of the semester.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that this, even though this is a longer outage than normal, I'm hoping that it will get resolved.
Yeah.
That there's not some like sort of big issue, but it sounds like, at first I thought it was my group because I know I'm in, this is an assignment. Assignments that I'm doing is where they submit the zip files. And
Yeah.
even though they're supposed to be in isolation and we spawn out off a process, and if it times out or uses too many, it sort of gets
Yeah.
killed and doesn't affect the regular autograder. There have been bugs in that in the past, so I assumed it was one of my student submissions, and then I see that it's
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. It's more pervasive. So
Sure.
Sam is I'm other than wanting to get a sense of how things are, but I think Sam probably doesn't have a great sense either. He's busy looking in the log files, and we're not seeing the problems that edX is telling us we ought to be seeing. So we're a little bit at a loss. But I'm happy to have him work on that and not attend this meeting.
Yeah. Did you see the message?
Yeah. It's funny because I had not seen that particular. It's sort of like a ditto kind of.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was
didn't quite
pointing up, and I
understand.
said, what are all those things pointing up? And it was just pointing at his previous message.
Just look at the message. Oh my gosh. And here I'm thinking there's some special meaning there.
Yeah. And that's good. We're here. So it's funny, we're here in our little video meeting just looking at Sam's messages. But I'm heartened to see that what it is. I mean, the fact that it's that there hasn't been connectivity means that there is something that's like more pervasive than
I would think so. It sounds to me like edX is like trying to stall a little bit. Like maybe they know that there's some big problem and they're not addressing it on purpose.
Well, the issue is, right, this is all theoretical, but I would assume if there's a big problem, they would just tell us about it.
I'm not so sure.
But it just, because the way that their response was to me is like they didn't really seem to, care that much. And it was just like another, support issue, like someone wanted a color changed on one of the screens. Anyway, so we'll see. So what else? Okay. What else? Is there anything else going on that we want to touch on or talk about?
I'll ask a quick question. So I'm setting up a DB seed file, and some things I want in test, and some things. Can I set up a DB seed to say, okay, if this is the test environment, seed this, and if it's production environment, don't seed that, but seed this? You know what I'm saying?
You mean as additional commands?
Well, so for instance, I have some drop-down lists that I want seeded. That they're coming from tables, and I want them seeded. But then I've got test students in this database that I don't want loaded in production. So can I set up my DB seed so that when I run DB seed against test, it loads these particular students in tables, but when I get to production, it doesn't do that? Does that question make sense? Right.
I mean, and have you looked at the documentation for the?
Well, I've been doing that this morning, trying to use, I guess, Rails.env.
Right, that is one of those flags that we've used, yeah. And if it takes, I mean, that's one thing that I've seen on other commands. I haven't seen it. We haven't used it on the seed command, or I don't recall that. I don't know about you, Rose.
Well, for testing, if we're going to seed something, we usually do it in the commands for the tester. The RSpec, like before or let, or the cucumber background step. You would seed the test database, and Rails, because of the nature of Rails, it would know that in one case you're seeding the development, all right? In the other case, you're seeding the test environment. And then as far as production goes, when you go to production, you show that in your gem file, you're going to use, say, like the Postgres database adapter instead of the like the SQLite, which is the default. And you then would just in the production environment, you just issue a rake seeds command.
I mean, this is not anything of great consequence that I don't think you could couldn't find. I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can share this screen just for the heck of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I found this.
I got that link that you posted.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to see if I can share this.
Mm-hmm.
So this sounds like and then answers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it looks like it's, someone is saying here, it sounds like there's like a few different approaches, not just one way to do it. But
Yeah.
the problem is the wisdom of the crowd. Unless you're a real expert, the wisdom of the crowd is better than the wisdom of any of us individually.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. I got that. Thank you.
Okay. That's sort of interesting. Yeah, I haven't. One of the things that I've chosen to do, because I have a large students that aren't as strong, is that in my class I generally haven't done projects, even though I have another instructor teaching the same class, and she's focusing less on what we do in the course and more on just having students work on projects. But so some of the the variables outside of the normal AutoGrader kind of projects, I'm not as good at. Okay. Anything else we want to touch on?
What do you use for production? Heroku?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Right now I'm using Heroku. I may migrate it later, but for the moment we're using Heroku.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you could always make the change manually, but that's tedious. It just have one version of the seeds when you're working in development, and then just switch over to a different, so that when you rake it, it's only the one you want in production that gets sent over.
Gotcha. Right. Right.
But I mean, that's not an ideal situation. So I maybe here they have a couple of ideas you could use.
Let's see if there's any news from. I feel this is breaking news. I just covered that window.
Mm.
There is it. Okay, so he's just going to experiment and see. Okay, anything else we want to touch on today?
Well, it is interesting that the AutoGrader broke, because our last meeting we were talking about looking at other auto-grading options. So it's kind of almost ironic that it broke right after we were talking about that.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember, Susan, when you joined, but what I said at the beginning was that when my students started getting a little freaked out because there was a due date upcoming, and when I had them come to class last Friday, I said that they were getting freaked out, but I was impressed with how few problems we've had with the AutoGraders this semester. There's always been, usually they need to be restarted or some glitch with edX or something, and so I don't know that I've had a semester that there haven't been problems with AutoGraders. So even though you're seeing this as like, coincidental problem, this has been, things have been pretty good and reliable so far. And what happens is once things get reliable, then we all get complacent. And it's like, oh, surprise, there's an AutoGrader. And you need the old timers to come in and say, well, back in the day, we'd be lucky to have it up for 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened at the beginning of this whole sort of foray into our the Berkeley course material is they promised us AutoGraders. Were you there that first semester, Rose?
I was there, I think, the second semester.
Okay, so they promised us AutoGraders,
right.
And they did not come. And what wound up happening is I had a particularly good student that in the middle of the semester said, "Oh, using this technology that you're teaching us, I can build us an AutoGrader," because the scripts were there in Berkeley, but there was no way to like sort of manage the queuing of that script. So we wrote in. He wrote something in Ruby on Rails that he deployed on the free Heroku platform, and that was our AutoGrader. And it had the best interface because it was like designed for usability. But when they had support, when they started to offer support through edX, and I decided like there was no reason to go my own way at that point. But anyway, so we'll see how this goes. But this we're somewhat secondary here. This AutoGrader stuff really has to do with the MOOC, and there's a way larger number of students and bodies to deal with that way. So, and that's one of the issues now. It sounds like, I don't know if you know, Rose, is the MOOC. I'm assuming the MOOC isn't running now.
I believe that's right, because we're working on, like on Fridays, we're working on updating things for the next run of it.
Yeah. So that puts us in a, the few of us who are using that puts us in a sort of less priority of a situation. But good thing that Sam has a conscience about this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm teaching the course in the summer, sort of planning to do the same kind of stuff. And I'm hoping for it to be very automated, but we're working at 3 times the pace. And if we do lose a few days, that's going to be
that's bad.
more significant. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'll be available this summer if anything's up and if I can help.
Good. Okay.
Hopefully with some of the stuff we're doing now on Fridays, it'll make things more smooth. We're really combing through not only the template code, but the solution code and the instructions.
Good. Yeah, I'm missing all that. That would probably be very very educational.
Yeah. Well, I just happen to be fortunate that I have a semester, and especially given everything that's happened, a semester that's a little lighter than my usual semester. So.
Okay. Anything else to bring up? I'm happy to get back to my own.
Yeah, sure.
Other work.
I'm fine, of course, today. I mean, like I said, my classes were canceled. So.
Right. Did Susan hear about that?
Yeah, I don't think she did. We had a stabbing on campus, and the victim has died, and the suspect is at large.
Yikes! Everybody stay home and lock.
I'm sorry.
Everybody stay home and lock down, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's just so sad that these things happen. Oh, and they're not releasing a lot of information yet, but the student who was killed is only 19, a male, 19, and the person they believe who did it is also a student, and it happened in the dorms. Of all places, I mean, you think you go to your dorm, you're safe, right?
It's awful.
It is. It's just, there's not words for how awful this is.
No.
Really. So anyway, if anyone needs anything, I'm going to be available. Not because I want to be, but,
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess it's a time to catch up on some things.
Yeah.
That's a small silver lining if you're not directly involved with the situation.
Exactly. Yeah,
okay.
And Susan, again, if there's anything I can help you with or pair program with, let me know, because I'll be happy to team up.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least I'll be monitoring Slack to see the status of things, but it's good. It's probably a good thing that we have this hour scheduled so that Sam cannot be here and he
Yeah.
can help try and debug this problem.
Yeah, and Richard,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you holding the meeting and starting it up for all
Yeah,
of us.
sorry, I'm a few minutes late. What happens is when I follow Sam's instructions, and I'll wait till next week to ask, but it comes up with, it defaults to some like personal information when I say start new Hangout, and I'm just wondering, and I don't remember doing that last time.
Weird.
Um,
I tried to start one last week, and every time I started it, it went back to the original page. It's like it started it and then it disappeared. I don't know what's going on, because I've done this, for how many years now, and then suddenly I'm getting.
Well, what it is it used to be that you could start it on the Agile Ventures page, and that may be
Right.
what was going on. And now it's just all there are in the Agile Ventures is an instruction.
Yeah, exactly.
For starting
So I've been going to YouTube live events.
Okay.
And then starting it that way, and I haven't had any trouble. And then all of a sudden last week, every time I started one, it would appear that it was there, but you couldn't enter it. I just couldn't figure out what was going on.
Okay. Well, these are, when we have less of an issue,
Yeah.
We'll look at that, because I would screen share and show sort of Sam what I'm looking at, because he uses this stuff way more.
Exactly.
It's not a big deal, but it's just a small thing. Okay, so I'll close this now, and we'll be in touch during the week if necessary. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, okay. Good to see everybody. Take care.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.